Hello and welcome to this episode of Calin's Outdoor Adventures. Today we're going to be tying probably my most productive carp fly that I've fished. It's a variation of a mop fly. So let's get started. I start with a barbless wide gap jig hook from Montana Fly Co. in a size 10. And I put on a gold tungsten bead. Color really doesn't matter on the bead. You can use whatever. Just a tungsten bead to get it down there quick, right to the fish. And I'm going to start with some red UTC 170. Start that just behind the bead. Break off the tag. I'm going to wrap back up to right behind the bead. I'm going to grab some lead-free round wire, 0.020. I'm going to insert that in the back edge of the bead, wrap that down, and then I'm going to start taking, slip a little, let's redo that. I'm going to wrap right back to behind the bead, then I'm going to grab some lead-free wire in 0.020. I'm going to insert that into the back edge of the bead. I'm going to begin taking wraps behind my thread. To add weight. And then I'm going to catch this down, my thread, begin moving it up and down. And that will make a nice little ramp down to the hook shank. I flatten my thread out. I'm just going to begin taking wraps over the wire. So now I'm going to grab some mop material. Here I'm going to use some fluorescent green. I'm going to strip some of the fuzzies off of the mop material to expose the core, and that's what I'm going to tie in. So measure it about where I want it. Should move back just a little. Catch that down with my tying thread. Wrap that back. Right about there. And the reason that I really like this fly for carp is that it sits with this almost straight up, with this little mop tag straight up, and it's super visible in the water. For where I fish, for carp, it's extremely dirty water, like 2-inch visibility. So having a very visible fly is more important than having a realistic fly. So now we're going to make a dubbing loop. About, probably 6 inches long. Close it off. Wrap that back. And wrap back up to just a little bit behind the bead. Now I'm going to set that off to the side. So I'll just grab my dubbing twister, put that in there, and I like to use this Prism eye stub. Get some out of the packet, try to keep the fibers aligned. That ought to be enough. I'm just going to spin this up. There we go. And then I'm going to grab a dubbing brush and pick that out. Actually going to throw in single turn whip finish. I'm going to use the rotary on my vise. Unwrap that a little bit. Have a little bit too much. Get about right there. My bobbin up. Trim off the extra. Wrap back over it a little bit. And then I'm going to pick this out. Now I'm going to trim those about even with the end of the mop material. Just kind of give it like a veil effect almost. Now I do tie some of these with soft hackle. And I just take a soft hackle feather, tie it in, wrap it forward. In that case I would bring my thread a little bit further up on the body. So I have my dubbing loop ends here. I would bring it a little closer to the bead. But on this one, I'm going to use some zonker strips. So just rabbit zonker strips. I have a red one, and I'm going to use that to make a dubbing loop, kind of a soft hackle. Pull down some thread, tie around the squeaky bobbin, make another dubbing loop, close it off, wrap back to where that other one stops. Right there, and here I'm actually going to grab material clip, pinch in there. There's a little hack. I like these little magnetic clamps. You can get them at Harbor Freight. I got these for like $1.50 for a set of 3. You get 3 different sizes. They work great as like a Swiss CC multi-clamp. So here you got a red zonker strip. Just going to brush the fibers back. I'm going to get clamp. I'm going to grab the fibers. A little bit fiddly to do. I'm trying to show the camera. And grab some fibers. And then I'm going to get my scissors. And I'm going to trim those. Just like that. You can see we have very little waste here. Just a little bit of fuzz left on the hide. Trim that. Now, I can take this little clump of rabbit soft hackle, put this in our dubbing loop, It's real thick. See that? And we're going to twist it up. See, now we've got that nice little rabbit collar. Once again, I'm going to grab my dubbing brush. I'm just going to pick that out very gently. I'm going to rip those out. Throw a quick single turn whip finish, because I'm also going to use the rotary on this. And we're just going to wrap this up the fly. Use all of it, make a real thick, fluffy collar. Actually, I'm not going to use all of that, I'm just going to get a little bit of that off. Catch that down. And after some practice, you figure out the exact amount you need and end up with very little waste. Tie that down. See, now you've got this great flowy collar, and it's just sitting there on the bottom. Those are just gonna flap all around and pulse in the water. We're gonna bring our thread to the front. So I got the squeaky bobbin. I'm just gonna unwind my thread real quick. Just for making up a collar. Now we're going to do about 5 to 6 turn back to front whip finish. Seat that knot well. I'm just going to snip our thread free. And that's a very flowy and movable little mop fly in the water. You've got the movement of the mop fly. You've got the rabbit, the ice dub, a real thick, pretty collar. Now, to preserve your work, on top of the whip finish, I like to add a little head cement. Here I'm using Loon Hardhead Clear, my bodkin. A little bit right there. Brush the fibers back. Try to get all of the thread covered. I really like to try to get all of the thread wraps covered, because this is a fly that's going to be bouncing on the bottom for carp. Take quite a beating. I also, a lot of times, end up by-catching catfish, and they are really good at tearing up flies. There we go. It's a finished fly. We got a few stragglers here. I'm just going to trim off. Get rid of those. There we go. Little soft hackled mop fly with a rabbit and a dubbing loop. It's one of my most productive carp flies. I really like to fish it. It's a whole lot of fun to fish. You can see it really well. Fish can see it really well. And you'll probably even catch some trout on that, especially stock trout. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe.